Let's be honest, most of the advice you hear about getting older is complete garbage. It's either, it's all downhill from here, or some patronizing nonsense about picking up gardening and slowing down. But there is a reality to the second half of life that no one really prepares you for. It's a shift in how the world sees you, and more importantly, how you see the world. Hit the like button and subscribe to Second Half Wisdom for a greater description about the reality of midlife. One of the first things no one tells you is that you start to become invisible to a large portion of society. To the marketing firms, the tech disruptors, and the youth-obsessed culture, you're no longer the target. At first, this feels like a loss. You feel like you're losing your grip on the now. But here's the secret. Invisibility is a superpower. When people stop looking at you as a competitor or a target audience, they stop performing for you. You get to see people as they really are. You become the observer. In a room full of folks trying to out-hustle and outshine each other, you're the one sitting in the corner seeing exactly who is full of it and who is actually competent. It's like being a ghost in your own life. You can move through spaces, collect data, and make moves without anyone realizing you're a threat. In the second half, you don't need the spotlight, you need the results. When you're 20 or 30, you spend a massive amount of mental energy trying to fit in. You want to be liked, you want to be in, and you're terrified of saying the wrong thing. What no one tells you about the second half of life is that this desire eventually dies, and it's the most liberating thing that will ever happen to you. You realize that most people's opinions of you are based on their own insecurities and greed, not on who you actually are. Once you stop caring about being liked, you become incredibly dangerous in a negotiation. You can walk away from bad deals. You can call out nonsense when you see it. You stop people-pleasing and start purpose-pleasing. This shift changes your social circle. You lose the hangers-on and the fake friends, and you're left with a small, tight group of people who actually matter. This isn't grumpy old man syndrome. It's tactical efficiency. You're cutting the waste. We're told that midlife is a crisis, but it's actually more of a load test. In the second half, you're often the linchpin. You're taking care of aging parents, you're managing the peak of your career, and you're guiding your children into adulthood. It is a massive amount of weight. But what people don't tell you is that you were built for this. All the failures and small-scale stresses of your youth were just training for this moment. You find out that you have a higher gear you didn't know existed. You learn how to stay calm when the stakes are actually high. You stop panicking about the small stuff because you simply don't have the time for it. This is the period where your slow-maturing intelligence turns into battlefield leadership. You aren't just surviving the stress, you're managing it with a level of precision you didn't have 10 years ago. We live in a world that is addicted to information. We're constantly told to learn more, read more, and keep up with every trend. But in the second half of life, you realize that more information usually just leads to more confusion. What no one tells you is that this is the time to stop collecting facts and start collecting wisdom. Wisdom is knowing what to ignore. You start to realize that human nature doesn't change. The technology might get faster, but the greed, the ego, and the fear driving people are the same as they were in ancient Rome. Instead of trying to keep up with the newest apps or the latest jargon, you start studying the fundamentals of human behavior. This gives you a massive advantage over younger people who are drowning in data but have no idea how to interpret it. You're not looking at the what, you're looking at the why. The most profound thing no one tells you is how your relationship with time changes. In your youth, time feels infinite. You waste it because, you think you have a never-ending supply. But in the second half, you start to see the horizon. This isn't depressing, it's clarifying. When you realize your time is finite, you stop wasting it on people who don't matter and jobs that don't fulfill you. You become incredibly protective of your energy. You stop saying yes to things out of obligation. You start asking, is this worth my time? This realization forces you to become a strategist. You start thinking about your legacy. Not in a building statues kind of way, but in terms of what you're leaving behind for your family and your community. You move from building to stewarding. The second half of life isn't a slow fade into the background. It's the moment the game finally gets interesting because you finally know how to play. You're invisible, you're unbothered, and you're focused on the things that actually last. Subscribe to Second Half Wisdom for more. Second Half Wisdom.